today we create not one, but two cards, and we're going to do some interesting and fun things using up something we all have plenty of, white paper scraps. Hello, my friends. Welcome. I'm Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'm so excited to be back with you with another Tuesday tip video. And today we are going to be creating a 2-for-1 card. I love 2-for-1 cards. We're going to create one base. We're going to do a little die cutting, and we're going to take that die cut and we're going to create a second card. And what's even better, we're going to be using up some of those pesky white paper scraps. We've got so many of them. And I've got a Tuesday tip as well. So I think it's time to jump in and get started. These cards are so much fun. You can see we've got these really great banners that we're using as our focal image. So we're going to be using a brand new banner set. And it's a biggie. Oh my goodness, look at all those great banner dies. This is called party banners. You're going to find a lot of different uses for it. I've actually created a really fun banner for my stamping space, but we're going to use it to create these two fun cards. Now, as I said at the beginning, we're going to be using up some of those white paper scraps, right? Those strips. This is where today's Tuesday tip comes in. And this Tuesday tip might actually qualify as a twofer as well. So one of the things I love to do is I love to take about 10 sheets of my basic white cardstock and I cut it into 4 by 5 1/4 inch pieces. You guys know we use that size piece here inside our cards all the time. Well, rather than cut that every time, I like to just go in and cut a whole bunch and they're always ready to go, right? I love that. But this is where the cutting of this is going to help me create today's cards. Let me show you what I mean. So if your blade on your paper trimmer is good and sharp, you can cut through 2 pieces of our basic white cardstock at one time. So what I'm going to do, again, I've got the 2 pieces. I'm going to line that up at 4 inches. So I've got the 8.5 up there at the top, and I'm going to cut that to 4 inches. Now, I always like to flip it around. That way I have that nice edge there on the side. We're going to take this side, line it up at 4. And that is what we have left over, this strip of 1/2 inch by 11. Well, that's what we're going to use on today's cards. Now we can take these pieces and we're going to cut these down to 5 1/4 inch. And as you can see, I now have my pieces ready to go. I've got another strip that's left over, or 2, I should say, right? I will finish cutting these. Like I said, I usually do this with about 10 or 12 pieces of basic white cardstock, and it really is one of my favorite tips. Having these ready to go and just being able to grab them is so wonderful. But now that I've shown you the tip, let's talk about what we're going to do with those scraps. Now, friends, this card has a lot going on because it's a 2-for-1 card. So you're going to want to make sure you grab your free download that goes along with the video. This, you're going to have the photos, the measurements, the supply list. There's even a QR code here, so you can come back to the video if you need to kind of refresh your memory on how to create the cards. Click or scan, and it'll bring you right back here to my YouTube video. Friends, you'll find this free download at SimplySimpleStamping.com, or if you look down in the YouTube description, you'll find a direct link. So I've got about 6 pieces. These are the 1/2 inch by 11, and that's what we're going to use to create this background. So it really is a fun way to use some scraps. Now we're going to be using 3 colors today: Crushed Curry, Summer Splash, and Berry Burst. And we're going to take this color on our ink and we're going to add it to our basic white scraps. And we're going to do that with some small blending brushes. So you are going to need a blending brush for all 3 colors. All right, so how about we start with our Summer Splash? So I have my 2 pieces here. You're going to want some grid paper. We're going to make a little bit of a mess today, but it's worth it when we can make a great card, right? So what I'm going to do, I guess I could line these up together. It doesn't matter, but we're just going to be blending on some colors. So I'm going to take my blending brush and I'm going to kind of ink it up, but it comes out a little harsh at first, so I like to get some of that off of there. And I'm just going to lightly brush, then you can start to swirl, but you want to kind of get that ink on there. Once we have it on one side, I'm just going to flip these around, and now I can do the other side. A couple tips when you're doing this is go towards the end. So I like to just kind of lightly add the ink on first, but going back and forth, you could catch the end of the cardstock and bend it. So I tend to try to kind of go one direction and then I'll start to swirl, but I do it very lightly. Again, if you bend the cardstock, it's not going to be the end of the world because we are going to be embossing this later as well. So with that, those pieces are no longer white, but we've got a really nice light version of Summer Splash. Now we're going to take two more pieces and we're going to do a little crushed curry. And friends, we're going to follow this exact same pattern. Again, you don't have to put them together, but it does kind of make it go just a little bit faster. And you can see this color goes on pretty light. It almost looks more like Daffodil Delight because crushed curry tends to be a really bold yellow, but when you're using these blending brushes and doing it really lightly, actually comes out a little bit softer. Now, of course, color combination, oh my heavens, you guys have a blast. Oh, there's a little extra something. You know what? I'm not even going to worry about it. And you'll see why here in a minute. Those things do happen. And we'll be able to trim that down or not even use that side. Not going to be a problem. All right. So I think you can guess what we're going to do. We're going to take two more pieces and we're going to do our berry burst. All right, there they are, all colored. This is the one that went wonky. Honestly, I'm kind of glad it happened because I'm going to show you how to fix that. So here's what we're going to do next. We're going to take a piece of copy paper, and it is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it is a quarter of a sheet. Now, let me tell you something. This is all going to be hidden. You could even use some junk mail for this, or a piece of cardstock that you've messed up on. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be hidden, okay? So I'm going to bring in my multi-purpose glue. I think that's going to work best for this. And because I tend to be a little messy when it comes to multi-purpose glue, I'm going to put my silicone craft mat underneath me. So the first thing we want to do is decide what color you want to start with. My Summer Splash is right there. We're going to go with Summer Splash. I'm going to add a strip of glue from one corner to the other. See, look, I went off. I told you, me and multi-purpose glue, not always the best of friends. And what I want to do is I'm just going to barely bring that off the edge, and I want to kind of line it up in both corners. This is the other reason I like to use the multi-purpose glue, because I can slide it around. But that gives me my very first strip. Now we're going to add a strip to each side. So I'm going to add glue to each side. I'm going to decide on my next color, and it looks like it's going to be the Berry Burst. You're going to butt those up right up against each other. If you wanted to, you could, if you were not using copy paper and you were using a colored cardstock, you could leave, I guess for lack of a better word, I'm going to call it a grout line. You could leave some space in between. It's your card, and I want you to really get creative with it. All right, so that's our next one. So now we're going to move to our crushed curry. Remember our wonky one? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to add my glue right there, and I'm going to avoid that end for right now. All right, so we'll lay that piece down. We'll add our glue here. This one didn't go wrong, and even if it did, just simply avoid that area for now, because once we get those down, we're ready to come back with our Summer Splash. But it's time to do a little trimming. We will be using these pieces, so go ahead and stay really close to the edge of your copy paper. We are going to be trimming all of this down, okay? This is all going to be trimmed down. Perfection, not even an issue right now, okay? So I don't want you to worry about it. Let's see, that's another piece, but that's going to be a little too short. So I think we're going to go ahead and come in with our last long piece of our Summer Splash. And let's add those here on either side. And now we can come in, back in with, these are going to be the pieces that we just cut off. And that will be our Berry Burst. And let me show you something. So the end that I cut off, Look at that. It's just going to actually fit just right on that edge. Not that I'm too worried about it. As I said, we are going to be cutting all of this off. Ooh, okay, let's add this one. And again, you see my little straight edge fits perfect. Looks like we need just a little bit more of our crushed curry. We're going to go ahead and trim everything down again because it looks like I need just a little bit more of the berry burst. And that's for these two corners, although they might come off, but I've got it. So we're going to go ahead. We'll add this last little bit here and here. And then I'm going to show you my fun tricks for trimming this down. So I wanted you to see that's literally all the scraps that I had left over. I think I'm good with going ahead and throwing that away. It's time to trim this down, and I want to give you just a little peace of mind. I cut this at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We're going to cut this down to 3 3/4 by 5. So I've left us a lot of slush room. I'm going to flip this over, and the first thing I'm going to do, so I've got it at 4 1/4. I'm going to take this over to 4 1/2. Is it perfect? No, and I'm not worried about it. I just want to give myself my first straight edge. So we're going to cut that. Is it perfect? No, and it doesn't matter because that's a piece of trash. That's my nice straight edge. Let's flip this around, and we're going to cut this to 5 1/4. We'll cut that end off. We're going to flip it around. I'm going counterclockwise. Now we'll cut to 3 3/4, and then our last cut, again rotating around, and we're going to cut to 5. Now the reason I did it that way, I wanted my first piece, which was that summer splash, I wanted it to land there in the corners the way I laid it the first time. So when you cut, if you'll cut either counterclockwise or clockwise, whatever way works best for you, but work your way around, and then you're going to have a perfect piece. Now it's time to bring in those fun banner dies. There are 14 banners, okay? Then we have some other little die cuts that'll do some little, things on the side so you can tie up a banner and stuff, but 14 actual dies. We're going to go from the smallest to the largest, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to be using the fourth one. Now, before I get into this, I want you guys to know whatever greeting you're going to use for yours, pick the banner that's going to work best. All right, really, that's what it's all about. We are going to use the birthday celebration stamp set, and so I kind of chose this one because that's what worked really well with the greeting I wanted to put on my card. So feel free to kind of get that figured out before you die cut. All right, so there we go. We're going to take this die cut, and we're going to kind of come here. I'm kind of lining it up on the sides and the top. I've got a little more room down there at the bottom. Base plate 1, thin die adapter 2, and a cutting plate 3. We're going to add our scrap creation here and our die. We'll add another cutting plate 3, and we're going to run that through our machine. And so we now have our 2 pieces for our 2 cards. But I wanted to do a little embossing on it. I wanted to just add a little bit. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to remove these 3 pieces, and we're going to bring in embossing plate 4. I thought the eyelet embossing folder just had a good birthday feel to it. So I'm going to place that there on my base plate 1. I'm going to lay the banner with the die cut, and then I'm going to put the banner right inside. Now, why didn't I do this before I cut? Well, because I didn't want to squish. I didn't want to squish my beautiful embossing. So we're going to do it afterwards, and it's going to work great. I'm going to add top plate, embossing plate 4. And now both those pieces are beautiful and embossed. Okay. We only need one 8.5 by 11 sheet of Summer Splash to create the cards. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to score. So I'm going to put the 8.5 inches at the top. I'm going to line that up at 4 1/4, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Let's rotate it around so the 11 inches are at the top, and we will now cut to 5.5 inches. So that's going to be card number 1. But for card number 2, we're going to do an additional score line. And we're going to line up, again, I've got the 8.5 inches up at the top, and we're going to line that up at 1 3/4. And this is going to give us just kind of an interesting little fun fold. I mean, why not create something a little unique, right? So to stamp our greeting, you're going to need a piece of basic white cardstock. Mine is a 3 by 3.5, but it can be some scrap. It's just going to go underneath here so that we can stamp. Now, there is something I want you to know before you start to stamp, and that is we do have some flowers down here. So when you're stamping, I want you to kind of focus a little bit more on the upper right corner. And because of how this card goes, I'm going to actually start in the middle with the word cake in Berry Burst, just to kind of allow me to center everything up. So let's take the word cake. And again, it does not matter if I'm straight on here. As long as I've got it on there, I am good. I could adhere it down, but honestly, sometimes I like to do my stamping first. So we're going to say cake, and then we can say happy day in crushed curry. All right, we have that. So I think I'm ready. I can go ahead and adhere this onto the back. Now, my favorite method is to just put adhesive here on the back of my embossed piece. That way I can kind of lay it down. Oh, I think I'll come up just a little bit higher there. Remember, we've got those flowers, so I don't want to take up too much of my space. All right, I have that. Now, we're going to do something a little creative. Can you see this Berry Burst layer that we have? Friends, I love to conserve my cardstock. So we're going to do a little fun stamping and die cutting from that piece of Berry Burst. Here's the die that I used. Remember, this was the 4th one. We're going to take the next size up, and we're going to use it as a layer. So that's going to go right there. And for right now, I'm just going to set it there. I can die cut it here in just a minute. And now we're going to bring in some flowers. And the matching dies from Pretty Florals, okay? So we're going to use this and this, all right? It's just going to add a little something extra. So I'm going to bring in a Berry Burst ink pad, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go backwards. It's just my favorite method here. And I'm going to stamp. I love that all 3 flowers come on one, and we're going to stamp those right there. Now I'm going to come in with the solid image. Let me find that scrap paper. This is the one we did all of our blending brush on. I'm going to stamp off once, and then I'll stamp right onto my flowers. I just find it easier to see where I'm stamping if I stamp the outline, kind of that detail stamp first. All right, that's done. We need to do some more die cutting. Yeah, we kind of have to go every which way today, don't we? So with the matching die for this one, I will come in, I'm going to die cut that, and my banner. Try to keep everything to the inside, because what we're going to do is we're going to use that layer. No one's ever going to know what's going on underneath there, and it helps us conserve, and it keeps our card a little bit lighter for mailing as well. All right, I have everything die cut. I'm going to go ahead and move up those over to the side. Let's take this hot mess piece of Berry Burst. We're going to add that to the front of our card base. And now we'll take that banner piece. We're going to add that there. I'm telling you, with everything that we have going on, you're not even going to feel anything that has been die cut. It's great. Okay, now let's add those flowers. So what I did, I had just a little scrap of some Summer Splash, and I die cut a little piece of leaf and stems out of that. All right, we're going to add that right here at the bottom. I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. We'll just glue that down there. Now with those flowers, remember we cut out 6 of them. So I'm going to take a large, a medium, and a small, and I'm going to add Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of these. And we will add those here to our card. I love that little bit of Stampin' Dimensional on there. Super cute. Now, it's a birthday card. It needs some bling. It needs some shimmer. So I'm going to bring in just a simple bow. This is the silver and gold trim, and I'm going to use a little bit of silver. We're going to bring in a I'm going to try that again, a mini glue dot, and I'm going to press the center of my bow right there onto the mini glue dot, add that at the top of my banner, and now it's time to decorate the inside. So remember how we talked at the beginning that we all seem to use a lot of 4 by 5 1/4 pieces of basic white cardstock? We're going to use that for the inside. So I'm going to start here with a crushed curry. We're going to add a fun little birthday banner right here in the upper right corner. And now in some Berry Burst, and oh, this font makes me so happy. I'm going to stamp the word birthday. I told you sometimes when I'm stamping things like this, I kind of go in an odd direction. Now I'm going to bring in some Summer Splash, and we're going to say happy birthday. So we'll stamp our happy birthday to, so we'll take our 2, and now back in with the crushed curry. Happy birthday to you. So really fun and festive to go on the inside. I just love it. There we go. Oh my gosh, so much fun to create with scraps. But remember, it's a 2-for-1 card. Let's check out card number 2. Don't forget about the free download I have for you that goes along with today's video. So when you're ready to recreate these cards, you can grab this free download. You're going to find that at simplysimplestamping.com, or if you look down in the YouTube description, I've got a direct link for you. All right, this is the card where we had that extra little score line. I'm going to take the banner that was part of our first card, and we're going to add that to the Berry Burst banner. Remember, this is the one that we die cut, but hey, why not? It was a great use of that. I'm going to add this to the front of my card, and this one's really easy. I'm going to flip it over, and I only want adhesive right to where the center of the banner is. So it makes it really nice and easy, because when we add this, we're going to use the center of that banner to tell us right where to adhere it. All right, it's going to be something like that. Now I wanted to bring in a little bit more of the Berry Burst. So I've got another piece, and you can see I ran this through the eyelet embossing folder as well. This is a 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. And that's just going to tuck right in there. Again, just gives a nice little bit of color. And this one in Berry Burst, it's simply going to say hooray. And this is a piece of basic white, 2 inches by 1 1/4. We'll add Stampin' Dimensionals to that. We'll put that right here on our banner. Remember the extra 3 flowers that we have? Let's just dress up our banner a little bit. I'll add that large one there. And you know, I think these last 2, I'm going to add those with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So 1 right there. We'll add another one right there. And another bow, of course. And that favorite tip of mine, just pressing the center of your bow with a mini glue dot. It just holds it on really nicely. Now we just need to add a little bit for the inside. And yes, another 4 by 5 1/4. Guys, we're going to make this one easy, and we're simply going to stamp Make a Wish. I'll do that in the Berry Burst. I'm going to do it at an angle just for something fun and different. And there we go. Aren't these just so much fun? Let me go ahead and bring in my first one. I mean, it's just a great way to use up those scraps. We're going to do something really fun and unique. If you don't have banners, what do you think about maybe creating some circles or some squares with your stylish shapes, or maybe your nested essentials dies? So have some fun, but I got to tell you, these banners are way fun. There's so many different things that you can do with them, and I'm really having a blast with this set. Friends, I hope that you enjoy these cards. They are truly fun, fun, fun. Thank you guys so much for being with me today. Hey, if you liked the video, would you do me a favor? Just click that thumbs up button there on YouTube. I always appreciate that. It lets me know what you like and what you want to see more of. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, just click that button and YouTube will let you know whenever I'm back with a new video if you ring the bell. I'd love to have you join us. Hey, one last thing. If you are a huge fan of paper crafting and rubber stamping, you're going to want to check out my YouTube membership. It's really simple. Click the join button. You can read about the 3 tiers that I offer, and if it sounds like it's something that's right up your alley, why not join and give it a try? You can cancel at any time. All right, my friends, that's all for me. Thank you for being here. I can't wait to stamp with you guys next time. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.